Hello everyone, this is Garrick Mitchell with Stemsiders Racing. This is new for me. I don't normally do the live, the video commentary we'll say, but just to preface this video, we're going to be talking about the 2024 Littleton Criterium, the Masters 40 plus and 50 plus Cat 1, 2, 3. And this one was an extraordinary event for me because before the race even started, I was walking back to my car after after picking up my race number and putting my wheels in the pit. I'm jogging back to my car and crossing the street, managed to trip on a curb and completely ate shit. Fell flat on my face, unfortunately fell onto my elbow and then ended up with my arm kind of hyperextended above me. I knew I had messed up my shoulder, and I'll talk during the video about just what happened there, but basically, I hurt myself right before the race. I'd done a lot of preparation for this race. Littleton's the biggest event of the year anymore in Colorado, and went ahead and raced. But as you can see with my arm in a sling, it was interesting. But anyway, I just want to give that little bit of preface. Well, I'll go ahead and say in the end, my diagnosis was a fractured greater tuberosity, basically at the upper end of my right humerus, the upper arm bone. And yeah, so I raced Littleton, tailgun Littleton, and as you'll see, actually finished with a broken arm. So, oh well, now is a great time to take some time off. But just wanted to give that preface, so let's see how it went down.
40 plus and 50 plus, 1, 2, 3.
All right, here we go. Littleton 2024 Masters 1, 2, 3s. As I just said, less than an hour ago, I fell, hurt my shoulder. I've ridden less than a mile and a half to get to the start, and I cannot pull on the handlebars. I also hit my left knee. I cannot put a lot of pressure on the pedals without pain. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm in the Shark Tank. This is a very strong Masters field. And when Dave Toll's there, you know it's serious stuff.
Thank you, Marco Riders. It's an honor to have you with us. We've called the gladiators into the arena, and now let's hit out in 3, 2, 1. Andiamo! All right. Strong field, Michael.
And right there, that is the only time I will stand up this entire race, and I couldn't do it. You saw I had to release the handlebars. I'm grunting and groaning, just trying to get up to speed. And so test number one is, can I even achieve contact with the rear of the field as they're rolling away? And so I don't know what's going on. I know I've damaged my shoulder somehow. I'm assuming it's a torn rotator cuff or something, but as long as I stay in a neutral position on the brake lever hoods, I'm generally okay. Now I've got to learn how to ride my bike without using my upper body. And, you know, I just figured, well, I've come this far, I'll suit up, I'll take the start. But I did not know what was going to happen. So basically what I'm finding pretty quickly is sharp bumps hurt, pulling on the handlebars hurts. If I push too hard, I just have to figure out how to isolate my upper body from my legs to make the bike go forward without pulling on the handlebars. And I got to figure it out on the fly. But what I seem to be famous for, and if you look at prior Littleton videos, I do a lot of tail gunning. I sit at the back of the field. It's not great for doing well at races, but in a fast field, it lets me be a bit more efficient. If I'm smart, I can survive, and I am purely in survival mode this race. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to go, frankly. I've already exceeded my expectations by completing a lap. So there's one lap. Let's see if I can do another. And so, you know, the benefit of tail gunning is you can let a bit of a gap open and then roll up on the back of the field if anyone in front of you slows down a bit for a corner. But really, this field is smooth enough and fast enough that they don't do a whole lot of slowing down. So my goal is just to stay off the brakes, keep the peaks as small as I can as far as power, because I'm limited on peak power. You'll hear me grunting and groaning every so often, either from hitting a bump or from an exceptional spike in effort, and I end up pulling on the handlebars enough that my shoulder just feels like an ice pick jammed into it. So I've got pretty much what's become my standard layout, instrumentation-wise, telemetry-wise. I've got the GPS map of the course. That's the backwards L of Littleton, which I've done, probably over 300 racing laps of. I've got lap times, lap counter. The lap time highlighted in blue is the current fastest lap time. To the right of that, I got my heart rate graph, then elapsed time, distance, speed, and then power and pedal cadence. And then on the bottom right, I've got the rear view mirror, the mirrored butt cam. And it makes sense to me to do it that way at least, but remember that is a mirrored image at the bottom right. So again, I'm trying to play it so I don't have to get on the brakes, especially at the end of this long straightaway here. If I play that right, the tail gunning is really effective. Now, you got to be watchful though for other folks having issues, and I think on this lap you'll see there's a slow rider riding along the right curb. I don't know if he's had a problem or just tired out, but he's approaching the corner. I can see him, and we all can see him. We just need to give him a bit of room inside the corner, but the rider on the Bianchi slows down. And look at the gap he's let open up. And I said, don't get distracted. Now I got to close that gap. Now we're not going full tilt. It is strung out a little bit, but that's the sort of thing you got to look ahead. And the road is wide enough there. You can leave room for that rider and really not have to slow down to accommodate at all. You'll hear later on this final corner. You can cut that corner quite a bit. Ride over the sidewalk, over the accessible, the detectable surface, that dimpled surface that helps folks with sight impediment. Anyway, you can run over that, but it's pretty bumpy. I will shortcut that corner a couple times later on, and you'll hear me grunt. It hurt. So I'm trying to find a smooth way around this course. But we're 3 laps in now. We're on lap 4. My heart rate is where I expect it to be. It's warm today. I started with an ice sock. It's not overly hot since we're late enough in the day. We started at 6:45 p.m. going for I think 45 minutes. But like I say, I'm just every additional lap I can do is gravy. I don't know what I'm going to be able to accomplish here today. So in that final corner, you can hear the public address system. You can hear Dave Toll and Michael Welker announcing, and there's already a breakaway, and I'm just not even thinking about that. I'm just hanging on to the back of the field. What I can expect, though, is if there is a break, then at some point there's going to be a response. And you can see we're kind of strung out right now. And of course, you can tell, you can get a sense of how hard the field is going by the shape of it. If it's in a wide blob, really not going all that fast. And frankly, that's the least safe part of the race, when folks are side by side and maybe speeds changing. If we're strung out, it's fast, it's thrilling, and it's actually remarkably safe, because you just have to maintain position, not overlap the rider in front of you, and that's not the entire race. If you look at the Pro 1-2 field, that's how they are the whole time. But this is pretty fun right here. But again, as long as I stay in that neutral position, so I have not stood up, going through that drain pan across the road there. That's a bit of a dip. It hurt going through that. But where was I going with that? There's a rider. Looks like he's going to the pits. We'll see him in the rear view. The wheel pit. If you have a mechanical issue, you go to that first tent on the left side there, and you can get a spare wheel, that sort of thing. Just past Steve Rademacher, my only Stemsiders racing teammate in this race. And again, as I keep saying, that's the thing about tailgunning, is you gotta watch for riders having issues, letting gaps form in front of you. And I've managed to pretty much bridge the gap here. I'm in my kind of tailgunning safety distance here. But the guys behind me, well, several just got dropped or are losing contact. Now, on the right, on the pink LA Sprint, shout out to Paul Hesselgrave. Paul, who's out on the western slope of Grand Junction these days, has already raced the 40-plus Category 3s, which was combined with the Senior 3s. That race went off immediately before ours, and he tried to bridge up to a breakaway in that race and really exerted himself pretty hard. So he's back here tailgunning. He's got a better reason for it than I do. He's already put in an honest effort, whereas I am impaired, basically. not that kind of impaired, but I am not at full strength. But so far, so good. So it's kind of it'll be a lot of the same cast of characters at the back here with me. There's one fella 2 wheels up from me now. He has, I think that's who it was, his chain kept jumping later in the race. That was a problem for me because I would hear the noise and I would tense up a bit, and that was not good for my shoulder. That hurt. But here comes Paul back up my left side. So the pace has slowed down a bit now. You see the field is strung out, and I am just maintaining constant vigilance, looking for issues ahead of me. I don't want to have to do a quick response of any kind. But thankfully, this was a safe race. No more close calls than you would expect in a criterium. right offering encouragement to me is former teammate Alex Fleming. The problem is nobody knows what's happened to me, so I can't really explain what's going on. It's kind of weird. Crap, did I just lose my rear camera? I didn't know what had happened, but later I found, so my seat post on my Tarmac SL7 has the means of holding a Shimano Di2 battery, and there's a little cover on the back of it that somehow popped out, so I've lost a cover on my seat post. But anyway, I was saying, so Alex just in front of me, I told him, I tore something in my shoulder. He says, oh shit. But to everyone watching the race, they're yelling at me, go Garrett, move up, move up, move up. And I'm like, all I can do is sit at the back. There's no way to explain what's going on, but frankly, folks who've watched me race know that I tailgun a lot. There, the guys in front of me slowed down a bit. I'm like, oh, don't slow down, go, 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 because I don't want to slow down. But anyway, it looks like just another day in the crit life for Garrick here, tail gunning. But you know what? I had the fitness today. My goal was to be more active, to move up in the race, maybe go preem hunting. But I've fallen back on being able to tail gun efficiently, and having done, like I say, hundreds of racing laps here. Operating in a very narrow window. Whoop, now Alex gaps here. I've got to close that gap. So again, the curse of the tail gunner is having to jump around things like that frequently. But anyway, we're what 10 laps in, or on the 10th lap. So I'm just hanging in there. Every so often I have a painful bump or a ill-timed effort that makes me pull on the handlebars. But I'm starting to believe, as long as I can get drinks of water. Now let's see, we're catching up. Looks like third wheel ahead of me is my brother from another mother, Clark Eckel, who he will always mean something to me, because when I first got back into racing in Colorado, I got invited to join Rocky Mountain Road Club. Clark was on the membership committee, and I mean, this was when you had to apply, you had to be accepted to race for the team. And at one point I had ridden with him, but we'd never really talked, and I went on a ride with him, and he's like, so tell me about yourself. And so I give him my background, go through my palmares, my prior accomplishments, which I speak highly of. Well, I won a couple of Category 3 state criterium championships in Texas. And he's like, okay, yeah, you're on, you're good. So Clark was kind of the gatekeeper back into the sport of bike racing for me, and those were good times. I had, there goes Clark. Sorry, man. Stay in there, stick with it, dude. But RMRC was an excellent way back into the sport, and I mean, 11 years later, here I am. I may have kind of plateaued, but you know what? At this point, I'm 52 years old. I'm just happy to be here. Every day's a blessing. It's I just want to be part of the show, and even though I'm at the back of the show, I'm in it. So we're just going to keep motoring here at the back with Paul. So I just heard Dave Toll talking about Matt Stevens, who ends up, spoiler alert, he ends up winning the race. Now, if this is who I think it is, Matt, you and I were actually teammates on GCCA, Gulf Coast Cycling Association, back in Houston, right before I moved to Denver. So that'd be around 2001, 2002 time frame. So anyway, Matt, if you happen to see this video, which shouldn't interest you at all because this is the exact opposite end of the race as you, hey man, how's it going? It's been a while, but you were fresh out of Texas A&M as I recall. So anyway, gig 'em, and good to see the success you've had. So I'm back here monkeying around with Paul, and I just don't want to break, so I'm telling him, look, Paul, I'm going to slide up on your inside here. I'm sure he was getting fed up with me, but just trying to surf the wheels as best I can. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that dip in the pavement hurt, but there's plenty of guys that probably had no idea I was in this race. Let's see, 2 wheels up on the blue frame. That's David Kendall, who routinely does quite well in the 50 plus 1, 2, 3 field. He had a top 10 finish today, but I hit the last corner a bit hard there, and yeah, I'm moaning and groaning, but I'm still going. But at the start, so like I say, by the time I finally got suited up, I rode down the street, found I couldn't stand up, I couldn't pull on the handlebars, my knee hurt. Got to the start, and it's like I haven't gone more than 12 miles an hour since wrecking here. And so I lined up at the back of the field. I actually U-turned and started riding backwards on the course, just trying to see, can I accelerate? Can I get going? And as the video started, I was just getting back to sit at the back of the field there. But I mean, Littleton is pancake flat. I think, my Strava activity shows an elevation gain of like 16 feet for the entire race. That may not be totally accurate, but this place is pretty flat, which makes it possible to tailgun like this. I don't think I exceeded 600 watts this entire race. Not that I certainly didn't contest the finish with the field, but we're strung out pretty good now. I mean, we're motoring along 29, but I'm able to get just enough power down to stick with it. Now with the field slowing down as it just did just there, under other circumstances I would have moved up. I would have really tried to get up as far as I could in the field while it was moving slower. But today, frankly, I felt like it'd be a hazard if I got too far forward in the race. I don't want my problems to become other people's problems. But I'm still just, what might have been, because I had the fitness to hang on the race like this. I could have been doing something. So, meanwhile, I got no idea what's happening up front. I looked at the live stream later. There were breakaways. I mean, the strong guys were doing strong guy things. I'm just pleased to be able to ride with these guys at all on a good day, and still scratching my head how I managed to do it today. So, maybe it wasn't that fast. I think in the end, as you'll see at the end, I sat up at the bell lap because I knew at that point, I wasn't going to get pulled. I averaged like 27.4. The head of the peloton, probably closer to 27.8, 28 miles an hour. That's plenty fast, but certainly not as fast as the pros. But it's fast enough to be fun. And something just went twang in my arm. Every so often I'd do something and my shoulder would hurt really, really bad. And I'm like, did I just break something else? I'd let go of the handlebars, kind of relax that arm, and it would get back in shape. But this was, I don't know. It was probably stupid for me to do this. And I was at risk of causing more damage. I still didn't know what the problem actually was. But I just, I didn't want to miss the show. So there I was gapping a little bit. I urged Paul to go past. It all worked out though. But I'm hurting at the moment. In fact, you can see on my heart rate graph, this is one of the fast times coming up this next half lap or so. But in the end, I got into my sports medicine guy, my orthopedist, Dr. Joel Gonzalez, who, there's a fun story there. Joel repaired my wife's ACL. She tore her ACL doing karate, doing a belt promotion test in karate, and Joel repaired it. And we were chatting in the recovery room or whatever, and or it may actually be later on I saw him regarding a problem with my knee. But anyway, he said, "Hey, you used to race, right?" Which is true. And yeah, I like to race. I was on hiatus. We had small kids, so I wasn't racing after moving to Colorado, except for time trials. And Joel said, "Yeah, you should check out this ride. It's called FDR, the Frustrated Dad's Ride." And he told me about it. This is back in 2013, and it's like, I'm getting kind of tired of riding by myself. I'd moved to Colorado in 2002, and this was 11 years later. And it's like, I'd like to get back into group rides. And so I show up for FDR, not really knowing what to expect, and it was very much like the Saturday morning Kirkwood ride back in Houston. All the racers showed up, and it was kind of like a road race out in the country. And I was able to stick with FDR, and it's like, wow, this is really fun. I'd forgotten all about that. So the point of that is, my orthopedist, Dr. Gonzalez, it's his fault that I got back into racing, because once I started doing FDR, I met all the guys there. I started doing PHP, the Park Hill Peloton ride, once I knew that I could hang with the pack, then I started doing criteriums again. In fact, my second crit back after an 11-year hiatus was Littleton in 2013, and I downgraded to Cat 4. I said, if I'm going to be a 3 in Colorado, I'm going to earn it, work for it. And the rest is history. I joined RMRC, then Palmaris Racing, now Stemsiders Racing, and just living the dream. And this is so much fun. I'm dismayed at the number of races that have gone away, basically for lack of participation. They can't justify the expense. with as few people are showing up, and it's just a crying shame. So we've got to support the races that are left. So folks, get out and race your bike. You know, it's if you give it a shot. It's, I don't know, maybe we got a PR problem. Maybe people are afraid they're going to sign up for a crit and get dropped in the first lap. But that's why you do group rides. You get strong. You get to know the guys in a training environment before you plunk down your cash and you pin on your number and you race. But it's so much fun. I don't. There's probably a ton of factors that I'm missing, but this is just heaven for me. Today with a bit of extra suffering thrown in, but anyway. But this is let's see, 13. So this will be the 12th straight year. Should be 12th straight year I've done Littleton. So a couple times in there I've double dipped. I've done Masters 3s and Masters 1, 2, 3s, which is kind of a pain when they're back to back. But I love this race. I love proper downtown crit courses like this. A lot of 90-degree corners, crowds. It is a hoot. And why we don't have more races like this in Colorado, I don't understand. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. Other than, participation's down and costs are up, and that makes it awfully hard to put on races. We need sponsors. We need, businesses. We need to figure out what businesses have closet bike racing fans at the top who would be willing to support this kind of event. So Audi of Denver is the title sponsor, if I'm not mistaken, for the Littleton Criterium, and I am grateful for their support of the race. I'll keep coming out. But yeah, racing is on lean times right now, and even high-level events are kind of evaporating. So let's all work to support the sport. So we're more than 2/3 of the way through. I think we're going to see 7 laps to go this time through, although I had trouble figuring out. I kept looking at the clock, not the lap counter. They were separate. But to the folks who were yelling at me, I heard folks yelling for me really almost all around the course. Thank you. That was huge. Of course, most of y'all were saying, "Move up, you idiot." I wish I could have told you what was going on, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun being yelled for, being yelled at, and it's fun for me to cheer for my friends. I'm disappointed that today I wasn't able to stick around for the pro races. I had to get home, which was kind of a trick because my everyday driver, my Mazda 6, is a stick shift. Here I'm saying roll. Come on, guys, don't slow down. But I actually got home shifting with my left hand. You make it work. But I'm swapping vehicles with my wife for the next couple of weeks so I can drive an automatic. Thankfully, she enjoys driving sticks, so there you go. But we are winding down. We just had the previous lap was a tie for the fastest lap of the race. I'm sure, for me at least. The last lap will be the fastest for the rest of these knuckleheads, but by then I had sat up. But I've at at this point, I'm in a groove. I just really don't want to crash and end up hurting myself more. But you know, it's staying fast enough. I don't remember any incidents in this race except for maybe guys going to the pits for flat tires. So, you know, kudos to the Masters field. Masters 1-2-3s is really a pleasure. The 40 plus guys are super fast. 50 plus, as I like to say, is 2% slower, but super smooth. Just really smart riders. You know, we all have families and jobs to go home to. Our risk tolerance has gone down with age, but we still know how to have a good time. So just huge fun. I love this sport. So just ahead of me, number 408 to Black Swift Cycleton. That's Brett Henry, one of my friends on that team, actually ex-teammate too. But Brett, when I'm back in the saddle, you'll have to tell me how this race went, because I really have no idea. He's been up at the front making a difference, and I'm sure he's going to go back there. But yeah, there are plenty of guys. I would understand they had no idea I was in this race. Let's see, I could just barely see the lap counter. It looked like, let's see, yeah, should be 5 to go. So free laps are over. At this point, if you have a mishap, flat tire, crash, you don't get a free lap. And it reminds me of right before I moved to Denver, I was at a stage race in Louisiana. Had a tough time in the road race, but in the Criterium, I was in a 2-rider breakaway with Richard Lamb, who I think may still be racing, but he's always been a sprinter. I'm the opposite of a sprinter, and so we're in a 2-man breakaway, and basically got enough of a gap that I could just start attacking him over and over, hoping to drop him. And but before I could do that, I ran over a sheet metal screw and punctured my front tire, or well, whichever tire it was, and it had a puncture. The sheet metal screw perforated my rim many times, and free laps were done. And so I was out of the race. I went from probably winning position to nothing, 0 to 0, and that's about when I started wondering, why am I doing this? I needed a break from racing. I've been going since '89 to '02, so 13 years. I was ready for a break, and that's right when I moved to Denver. Yeah, I hit that last corner pretty hard. It hurt. But let's see, should be 4 to go. And at this point, really all I want, I know that there's a breakaway out there somewhere. I'm occasionally sneaking a glance behind. I don't see the break about to catch us yet, but my goal is to make it to the bell lap with 1 lap to go. And at that point, if I lose contact with the peloton, that there's no point in pulling me. I mean, I'm going to finish the race if I make it to the bell. So that's my goal right now, is just to make it that far and then sit up. And spoiler alert, I'm going to do it. You can see the kind of a plateau in my heart rate for the penultimate lap, and then it drops down as I sit up. So I'm still kind of shaking my head that this worked out. I'm just I don't mean to pat myself on the back. I'm a crappy bike racer. I'm a marginal athlete, but I'm just so tickled pink to be able to come out here and play. And I didn't want to miss this show, and I made it work. I hope I don't regret it much later, but so far the bone's healing. To finish the story from earlier, so I saw my orthopedist, Dr. Gonzalez. They start by taking x-rays, and I'm figuring, that won't show you anything. It's a torn rotator cuff or something. And so I get back to the exam room, and he pulls up digital x-rays on the screen, and lo and behold, it's like, oh, look, no, you got a fracture. And the question in my mind was, well, great, but does that rule out, like rotator cuff damage? But, if you break a bone at that point, you've kind of, the weak link in the chain is broken. You're not transmitting force anymore. So fingers crossed that once the bone heals, I'll still have to reestablish range of motion in the shoulder. Hopefully the shoulder won't stiffen up too bad, but then hopefully I won't have ligament and tendon damage, or if I did say tweak a muscle, that it's healed during the 6 weeks that the bone's healing. So I may have dodged another bullet. The older I get, I go to the airport. TSA asks the metal detector, is any metal in your body? Any reason you can't go through the metal detector? And I say, not yet, because I'm not arrogant enough to say I'll avoid that forever. But I may have dodged another bullet here. So, but let's see. Yeah, I think we're gonna see. We'll see 2 to go this next time. Yeah. So at this point, I really am just ready to be done. I'm starting to gap a little bit. I'm looking back to see if the following moto is menacing me, because I don't want to get pulled from the race. But again, once I get the bell, no one. The leader's going to be done by the time I get back around. So I am letting the gap open a bit. I'm relaxing just a bit. Still going cross-eyed. I am ready to be done. But so thrilled I got to do this. Thanks to all the photographers that come out. At this point, the only one I've seen the finished product of is my friend Reed Newrider, who is one of the founders of the Park Hill Peloton, and an excellent photographer. And I'll try and put some samples of his work up on the screen. But this is it. I made it. I just got to tiptoe around the course one more time, and I have finished the race. Still amazed I was able to do it, but happy I did. And again, hopefully it's long term. Shoulder will heal, it'll rehab. But yeah, I am ready to crawl off the bike and curl up in a little ball. The follow moto was very patient. Thanks, guys. I'm sure that one of the motos was Marcel Van Garderen, TJ's father, and he's a fixture. Well, they're both father and son fixtures in the sport. And we're glad for them. But hell of a race. Littleton delivers as always. I'll have to go back and watch the live stream. In fact, here I'll post a still image from the live stream at the finish. After I come across the line, I can't hold on to the handlebars anymore. You know, in the end, if I just broke a bone and didn't tear my rotator cuff or damage tendons and ligaments, the fracture will heal quickly. So I know it's going to be some tough rehab to get range of motion back in the shoulder. Yeah, I can envision the training montage from Rocky or Karate Kid. You know, that'll be me and the physical therapist. But you know, I'll be back. But for now, taking a bit of a break. Next week, I take my oldest out to Penn State for them to start a PhD program. So I was going to take time off the bike anyway. But here we go. So that's it. That's Littleton 2024. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me drone on and on. This is way more talk than normal, but we will see you next year. Ta-ta.